Quentin Lake is a phenomenal defensive back for the LA Rams, and he's kind enough to join us right now. Quentin, appreciate the time. Thanks so much for doing this. How you been?
I have been fantastic. The weather's great in Southern California, so I can't complain about that. But other than that, I'm feeling great. Team looks good, body feels great. So a lot of
And
blessings in my life.
and I saw the other day you guys are having mandatory minicamp in Maui. That's a pretty good deal for you guys.
The Rams do it kind of differently. They've really expanded their brand out to, all these international places, and luckily enough, we kind of have a little bit of in common with, Hawaii. Obviously, they had an unfortunate situation not too long ago with the fires, and obviously Los Angeles was decimated by fires as well. So for us, it's amazing to go out there, kick our feet up, enjoy that Hawaii weather, but also, get to show our support to the island of Maui, do a couple kids camps, be in the community, and just show that, the Rams community and the Rams organization has their back.
I know a lot of times, right, you forget that we forget that football players are humans and have to deal with regular stuff and tragedies
Yeah.
like we have to. How do you just look back at the horrible situation that occurred out there with the wildfires as you guys were going through a season?
Yeah, it's tough. Because funny story, like so the week of the our first playoff game, the first round, we are practicing, and I shit you not, I look right and there's another fire that pops up like the middle of practice. Obviously, that whole week we knew, like, the Palisades fire were going on, but there was another fire not too far away, and we looked up and we saw it. And Coach McVay did a great job because a lot of players lived over in that area. So you just never know, like, was it going to affect them or was it not? And so he huddled us up and said, hey, if you guys have to go rush home, depending on, where you live and all that stuff, make sure you guys go handle your business, get your family safe. But it was very distracting. But at the end of the day, we knew, hey, we have our team, we have everybody that we need. And we ended up, one of my teammates, Tyler Higbee, he said it looked like Noah's Ark when we were traveling. We took two big planes over to Arizona. Luckily enough, the Cardinals gave us the opportunity to use their facility. But yeah, man, it was crazy. I've been around fires being out here for my whole life. 2018, 2019, there were also some fires, but this was something different, especially being in the NFL and how the whole situation was. It wasn't easy, but we handled it well. So it was good.
How do you look back, Quentin Lake, at last season? You guys made it to the second round. I was there at that game in the snow up against Philadelphia. You're right there at the
Yeah.
end. It's not crazy to say that if you guys won that game, maybe you guys end up going to a Super Bowl a week later and you win that NFC Championship game. But when you look back at this past season, what are the things that really stand out to you?
You know, Coach has talked about it over the last couple of weeks. We're built for it. You look at the last two seasons, we were -3 games going into the bye, and then we end up coming out, really, really strong, after that bye week. So we know how to overcome adversity. Last season, there were a lot of ups and downs, injuries, things didn't go our way, some games that, we wish we would have had back. But you look at kind of our run, the last, I would say, like 7 or 8 games. I mean, it was phenomenal football. Um, the thing that really was, I'm not going to say disappointing, but you're so close, you win the game against Philadelphia, you play at home at SoFi Stadium, especially after what LA had dealt with. That is like, that's why it was the magnitude was so much. And that's why, like, it really hit home for me and really hit home for a lot of the players, because it's like, we all in our mind, if we beat Philly, we were going to the Super Bowl. Like, I'm not going to say we look past the Commanders, but we were like, man, if we win, coming home and playing that game, the stakes were so high and we were so ready. Unfortunately, it didn't go our way. We were 14 yards away from, playing the NFC Championship. But that season was one of the most memorable seasons. I know if you ask anybody else, they'll say the same thing. But, we got a good team this year, so I'm expecting big things as well.
Bad weather is a part of football. It happens. Sometimes people use it as an excuse. Do you feel like the weather did impact that game?
For sure. For sure. I almost had an interception. I couldn't see the ball. It speared me in the head. So yeah, the elements play a factor. They do. Not that, people say like, oh, if we played on turf or we played in good weather, like the Eagles would have whipped our ass. Like you never know. You could say whatever, but like it was snowing. It is what it is. Both teams have to deal with it, and
Yeah.
it's really at that point, it's who can manage the elements better. Um, we didn't come out with it, but the elements that snow that was my first time in snow too. First time snow game.
Oh,
It was
really?
awesome. Yeah, it was awesome. So uh that's what you live for football. That's why I'm glad like a lot of the teams that are in the Northeast, they don't have indoor stadiums because you really get that real football grit and grime, mud in your helmet, snow in your shoes and all that stuff. It was awesome. That would be, one of my top games
I, I,
ever.
obviously, there was disappointment, but with how close you guys were and the
Yeah.
team that you guys knew you had, like, what do you remember from the plane ride back, coming back from Philly?
Oh, it wasn't as bad as the year prior. I'll tell you that. So the year prior in Detroit, we were on the tarmac for 6 hours. We were on the tarmac for 6 hours because our plane, the tubes that needed to refill the plane, they were frozen over.
Oh, that's right.
So we
Yeah.
were just sitting there. But in terms of the Philadelphia game, man, like you always get everybody talks about like this what if factor. Like what if, what if this, what if that, what if this play happened or this play happened or certain things in the game just went our way. So that's like you talk about that all the time, when you go through losses as an NFL player, there's this big like what if this, what if that. And that's usually what happens within like the first hour, an hour and a half. And then after that, you just kind of shut it off. I mean, you guys are laughing and giggling, kind of understanding like, man, we had a great season. Despite the loss, it was a great season. You know, did we come up short? Yes, but you look at from where we came from, like no one even thought we were going to get to the point we were. So there was a lot of positive in the negative. But yeah, once you get through that past first kind of like 2 hours, everything's kind of lighthearted.
Quentin Lake here with us from the Rams. Last year I picked you guys to win the Super Bowl before the start of the season. And I looked at the defense, and I was a big fan of Verse. I was a big fan of Fisk before the season started. But there was always this thought of me, how long was it going to take for this team to really learn how to play without Aaron Donald, just how
Yeah.
great he was for so long? Like, the defense was really good last year. Do you feel like you guys could get better and it will be easier now this year because now you've already dealt a full year with the great Aaron Donald no longer on your team?
Yeah, I have no doubt that we're going to be better. Chris Shula, our defensive coordinator, does a great job of highlighting player strengths. And we kind of had to find our identity a little bit throughout the season last year. But I would say this, like being a rookie, having success as a rookie, fantastic. But it's almost like when you make the jump from year one to year two, your game can really, really take off. So the young front that we have, and I would just say overall, the young defense that we have, like to build the rapport that we are going through, all this whole offseason program and then into training camp, like I have no doubt in my mind that we'll be one of the top defenses. We have all the pieces that we need to be able to do it. Um, and I can see it, I can see it in terms of the communication, how hard we play, and really how connected we are as a group. So yeah, we lost Aaron Donald, but no one like that was the same question that you asked this year was the same question everybody had last year is what is this Rams defense going to do without Aaron Donald? And we showed you. Now everybody's saying, "Oh my gosh, this Ram defense is so good. What can they accomplish now?" No one's even saying like, "Are they going to be able to do it without Aaron Donald again?" We kind of formed our identity without him. Um, so I'm excited, man. It's going to be great. We put the world on notice now. It's really time to go solidify ourselves as a top defense in the NFL.
And then on the flip side, we know Stafford is as good as they come in the NFL. I know you guys lost Cooper Kupp this offseason, but you end up getting Devontae Adams, and then you have Puka
Yeah,
Nacua, who's already a young star in this league, and Kyron
yeah,
Williams is a touchdown machine. It's just,
yeah,
it's a well-balanced machine that you guys got going right now in LA.
yeah. It's exciting. 30 minutes ago, we were all out on the field together and just seeing how smooth the routes are. Now, Matthew Stott, he's Hall of Fame, no doubt. You can stamp it right now. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. But to have a high-powered offense with, I would say, easily a top three wide receiver duo, a great running back, good O line, and then a Hall of Fame quarterback, man, like you would hope, and I have no doubt like 30 plus points a game, you know. Um, it's exciting, but even as a defensive player for myself, it's exciting to go against them each and every day and have that challenge. You know, that same thing of like, what if, like, you're like, oh my gosh, like, I hope we put up 30 or it should be like a touchdown every single drive. It's exciting. Like, so not only as players are excited, I know the fans are excited, but as players too, you're like, oh my God, I can't wait till we get to Sundays to really see like what is Coach McVay going to cook up? You know, seeing these guys play in a real game. I've seen, obviously seen Puka and Kyron. They've done it all the time, but then Devontae too. Like I've gone against them, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But then to have him on our team, like it's fantastic. So I'm excited. It is going to be one hell of a season. I have no doubt.
Yeah, and what is it like, just the human side of it? Because you have these relationships formed, and there was all these
Yeah.
rumors this offseason about Matthew Stafford. Is he going to get traded? Is he going to get the contract done? Then you say goodbye to Cooper Kupp. Those
Yeah.
two guys who are huge pieces in your locker room. Obviously, the deal got
Mhm.
taken care of with Matthew Stafford, but to see Cooper
Mhm.
Kupp go, how did you kind of react to both those storylines this offseason?
Yeah, I texted Cooper instantly. Like he was a fantastic teammate, fantastic father, just a person in general. So when you lose a guy like that, you're like, dang, you know, what are we gonna do now? You know, how are you gonna replace him? How are you gonna kind of work around, you know, such a not only a void on the field, but a presence in the locker room too. Obviously, you know, the Rams do a great job of finding great players. So we got Devontae, but initially I was, you know, I kind of was like, dang, you know, it's unfortunate. But also as a being in it for 3 years now, you understand the business side of it too. You know, certain moves just have to be made. And I wish him nothing but the best. I'm actually glad he stays in our division because I'll be able to talk some smack to him, you know, when we play the Seahawks 2 times a year. So it's gonna be fun. You know, the battles will continue, at least on the field. And I know, you know, it's a place he's familiar with. It's a place that's close to home. So I'm wishing him nothing but the best. And then in terms of Matthew Stafford, I was like, oh my gosh, please, like we have to keep him. You have to because it's like then you got to go through the whole draft. You got to find a quarterback. You might have to give up, you know, certain picks, and it just the whole situation with that just seems like it was going to be complicated. It just seems like you know if we have our guy. You know, Matthew Stafford, he's our guy. Like he is our guy. So for him to get that figured out, for him to be able to you know come back to the Rams, nothing but a blessing. I was excited. Great human being. So you know when you have the right people and in the building, the right culture in the building, I mean, you're lining yourself up for success.
Just out of curiosity, you come from a football family, obviously. You've now been in the NFL for a few years. We
Yeah.
know what this defense is capable of. You know the area, obviously, going to UCLA and
Hmm.
now being with the
Yeah.
Rams. What's that next step for you individually? What do you want to show people this year after the good start to your career that you've had, Quentin Lake?
Yeah. You know, I've moved a lot. You know, I really want to solidify myself as, you know, a top defender in the NFL. And I feel like I can do that. I feel like, you know, with this defense, with this team, um, that it is definitely a possibility. At the end of the day, I think, you know, I want to put the myself in a position to make plays, but also put myself in a position where it helps our team win. Because at the end of the day, it's about wins and losses, no matter what. So, um, you know, I have individual goals that I want to get to, but at the end of the day, you got to win games and you got to be out there too. So I always think starting small, play every game, which thank God I was able to do that last game. And really, the tape's going to show for itself. I'm getting more and more comfortable, you know, been in the league, gaining more experience. So I have no doubt in my mind that it won't be a surprise if, you know, if I do everything that I'm supposed to, that you'll be looking like, man, who, like, not even who is this kid, but man, this is a damn good football player. He's one of the top in the NFL.
Love that answer. Last thing I'll ask you, just getting back to your division. There's a lot of differentiating views and opinions on Brock Purdy. You have to go
Yeah.
up against him. How do you view Brock Purdy as an NFL
Whew.
quarterback?
Um, I'll say this, being a late round guy, I'm happy for him. Happy for all the success he's had, happy for the things that he's done. I mean, the accolades and success shows for itself. You know, been to a Super Bowl, been to multiple NFC championships. Um, but we'll see. You know, they lost some key pieces. And it's always good battles going against the 49ers. So pay him as much as you want. Do what you got to do to keep him there. My mindset's not going to change. At the end of the day, we got to beat the 49ers. So it doesn't matter if it's Brock Purdy or anybody else. I mean, they're going to have to line it up too. I think, he's maximized what he's did at the 49ers, and I think that's good for him.
Do you feel like they're still obviously you think you guys are the best team in the NFC West. Do you feel like the Niners are the second best team in that division?
It's hard to say. Personally, I think I think we're the best
Mm-hmm.
in the division, but it really could be a toss up this year for that number 2 spot. You know, um, Cardinals, I feel like they got some key pieces in the offseason. They just paid their tight end. They got Josh Sweat from the Eagles, so they got some good pieces. The Seahawks, they've always consistently had a good defense. I'm kind of curious to see what their offense is going to do. And you can never sleep on the 49ers. I mean, Kyle Shanahan has always got a good scheme, so it don't. I mean, as long as it works for us, I don't really care. Like you can 2, 3, 4, it doesn't matter. It could go Cardinals, Seahawks, 49ers, 49ers, Seahawks, Cardinals, Seahawks, 49ers. It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't matter. Whoever, best of luck for the number 2 spot, but it's going to be second place.
Well, really appreciate the conversation. Love your story from a 6th-round pick. Also, the football family background that you have and what you've been able to do in this league so far. Nothing but good health and good luck this upcoming season.